which, sorry, well, whoever watches the recorded calls will not get that fabulous intro. Just for the recording purposes, we're covering reactivity and excessive barking today. And Marnie, who is one of OPH's trainers, will be talking about that and taking questions. So let's go ahead. Marnie, over to you.
Thank you, Irene. Thank you for doing this. Hi, Laurie, and hi, everybody. Thank you for coming, who's joined us already. We're pretty much on time. Good job, everyone, for being here in good timely fashion, but we may see a few more come in. So we'll take questions in chat, or you're welcome to wait until we ask for people's questions and jump in verbally. I did have a case study. I invited one of us among us has taken on one of our wonderful Desi dogs. And Irene, I know that they're very close to your heart too. So, you know, Kuno and Barbara, and their progress, I thought perhaps if they do come, are they here yet? Oh, there's
Yes,
Barbara.
looks like Barbara's there. Hi, Barbara.
Hi, Barbara.
Good to see you.
Thank you for coming, Barbara. Really appreciate it. Because we're talking about reactivity and excessive barking, and the two can be overlapping in some areas, but they're separate in some areas. So I was just going to talk a little bit about each of those. And reactivity is a dog. What is reactivity? A dog, we get these dogs from who knows where. They know who knows what. They've had who knows what kind of upbringing, what genetics are kicking in, what age they are, truly what they've been through, or how little they've been through is usually the case. Even when it looks like they may have been through awful things, usually people just aren't doing enough with their dogs, and they're leaving them until they're a problem, or they're just unwanted and they're just not getting enough input. So they kind of raise themselves and they do the things the genetics tell them to do. So reactivity happens when a dog hasn't had enough nurture and environment, but genetics are telling them, the very core nature of the dog is telling them to express certain behaviors, to communicate how they feel about a situation that they would like to change. And so reactivity is when humans rush a dog that's not been prepared for a situation, and either their genetics or the environment, their lack of nurturing, their lack of socialization. And socialization is a misnomer. If anyone's confused on that, you can reach me afterwards if I don't cover that too much. It's a different, it's a very, I could give a whole talk on that, because we think we're socializing dogs and often we're traumatizing dogs. You know, we get these dogs and within a week they've gone to the groomer, they've gone to PetSmart for a lesson, they've gone to the dog park, they've met everybody in the family, they've gone everywhere. And so reactivity sets in when a dog's flooded. Too much, too fast, unprepared, no relationship has really been founded where the dog can trust a human to get them out of a problem. So the dog's expressing a need. Always behavior comes from a need that is not being met. And reactivity meets the need to alert people to listen, to pay attention. The dog can't cope anymore. We've missed all the warning signals, and now they're in crises mode, right? They're just melting down, or they're screaming. A lady that may be on tonight, I'm not sure, and I won't keep looking through, and I'll keep on a roll and we'll look later. That's Irene will help back me up. But a lady who was on tonight, you know, drove sort of 3.5 hours to bring me a dog recently, to show me how reactive he'd gotten. And honest to goodness, I was like, this is a normal dog that's genetically programmed to work for 8 hours a day, genetically programmed to work hard, a German Shepherd. So we've got a dog that should be working and a lot, and is programmed to be ready for situations, high alert, you know, hypervigilant to a degree. They should be calm and chill until the bugle of action is needed, and that they're ready to be on if they're getting their needs met. But it was enough exercise, not enough social conditioning, not enough support or guidance through a situation, and dog will just explode and melt down, and they just fall apart. And we see it in barking. And that leads us to excessive barking, which we'll talk about a little later. It can be very vocal reactions from a reactive dog. It tends to be a very vocal component. but it certainly doesn't have to be, as Barbara will attest. She's dealing with one of the Desi dogs I mentioned, Kuno, and we'll have you speak a little later, Barbara. But yeah, you can have non-vocal, just meltdown, body shaking, not able to look at the person, not able to hear anything, either in their eyes so much they're constantly scanning the environment, hypervigilant, or they're just head down, they're avoiding everything, shut down, they can't cope. Okay, so does anyone here have an example of reactivity? If you just if you could, do you have a hand raising function here? Do we have a hand raising function?
You know, there should be, I don't
Type in
know,
the
but
chat.
it's a small enough group that
There's a
maybe
wave.
speak up,
I see
or
one.
do you?
I see one. I see Ginger. Ginger does.
It's under
Hi,
reactions.
son.
Okay.
So yeah, it is just sometimes you have these meltdowns, and I just wondered how many people who are here now are seeing meltdowns in their dogs. Does anyone nod at me or let me know if you're seeing it right now? Oh, you.
We can do the
Wow, very
old, we
cool.
can do the old fashioned hand wave. We don't need the
Yes,
little
hand
thing.
wave.
We can
No,
actually
we need
literally
these
wave our
fancy
hands on
schmancy.
screen.
Just give me a nod, something, or type in the chat if you want to tell me something. Oh, thank you, Barbara. Under the participants menu, the raise hand.
Okay, Barbara, I'm
makes
gonna
sense.
upgrade you to become a moderator now. You're the one who best knows how to use Zoom. Thank you.
We're learning, but I'm so grateful to have this help
There
so
we
that
go.
we can stay helping people, and I could just stay connected with you all. So back to your dog melting down. I just wondered who here is seeing this or have seen it with fosters, and you're just preparing yourself for the next time it happens, because it will happen. These dogs, the first thing about reactivity is they're overwhelmed. They're in a situation they have no coping mechanism for. It's a lack of emotional fitness. They need to go to the emotional gym stat. So we give them whatever support, medical, talk to a vet. They may need it. Usually not, but oh my gosh, in somebody like Barbara's case, it was actually a real saving grace to give some relief to a dog who's just trigger stacked, flooded, overwhelmed, and in an environment that frankly they just can't change right now. Because when you've got someone great like yourselves taking one of these dogs, they may be in the best hands we can get for them, but the environment may be very hard, like DC or cities, or even for this dog suburbia, but sort of city suburbia. They're just not ready for certain environments. Some of them have been in a backyard their whole life, or a basement, or just not been exposed to certain things. And people like to walk. People like to get dogs out. They like to take them places, and they like to bring them into all aspects of their lives. I've had more calls these last 2 weeks. I was just telling Irene, Laurie, than I've had yet since being here. It's starting to get really busy with people having meltdowns. And honest to goodness, 90% of the problems I'm firefighting are because we're rushing our dogs. When you're in an apartment, though, in DC, what can you do but get them out? Down the stairs, in the elevator, next to people. I mean, it's a lot for these dogs. They've just not been set up to feel okay with things being rushed. So the most important thing you can do for reactivity, I'll tell you right now, the most important things for a reactive dog, and yes, it can lead to excessive vocalization, which is excessive barking. Yes, it can lead to just physical shutdown. It can lead to so many unwanted behaviors. People don't even know how reactive their dog is until it explodes. Hyper, amped all the time, over vigilant and scanning, restlessness, following you ever. It can start as anxiety and very easily become reactivity, but it is fear-based almost all the time. Even aggressive dogs, it's usually the best defense for a predator is the offense. Predators are just wired to go on the offensive. They're wired to take out a threat, maybe, or look like they're going to. So when they're reactive, when they're scared, they try and look scary, or they try and tell us, get that away, make it go away. They confront. They tend not to run away, right? They're not like the deer or the rabbits in our area. They tend to turn and confront a problem. So reactivity is a dog crying for help. It's very sad. And we see so much of it. And it's just dogs being rushed. So honest to goodness, what OPH teaches with the shutdown is the best thing, and people hate it because they've just got a new dog. And they want to bring the dog in the family, and they want to bring them on the bed, and they want to give them a bath because they don't smell pretty. And if Chris were here now, I'd be laughing because she knows. It's like you just want to give them a bath. You want to make them feel better. You want to help them. And so you don't want to stuff them in a crate or shut them down in a basement or a calm, cool room and not do very much with them. But honestly, decompression is the solution for reactivity. Decompression and building a foundation of trust with a handler so strong that the dog knows no matter what, the person will just get them out of there. You don't need to be a trainer to help a reactive dog. Honestly, the best thing you can do is build up communication, a conversation with the dog where they know you'll get them out of there. Hold on, I'll get you out. They start barking at something, we leave. Train yourself though. Forget about training a reactive dog right now. Train yourself. When your dog is showing you a threshold or triggers, you need to teach them that you are 100% reliable at getting them out of a situation they're not yet prepared for. Now, okay, so the people like Barbara who you're not in an apartment, but you've got to get them out, and there's so many things happening. You've got to go past it. So flooding happens the minute you open the door with some dogs, right? There's cars, there's bikes, there's people, there's things. They're just inundated the minute we go out of our door. So reactivity is them reacting to all these stimuli they're not mentally prepared to cope. So we can help them when we can't get them out of there. We can teach them. We go to the furthest corner of the hallway. We go quickly to the door between people. We eat food when we feel safe. So we use food for dogs. We don't eat food when you're about to be murdered. So you're just not in a snacking frame of mind when you're under threat. So if a dog can eat in different places throughout the walk and eat comfortably with their head down or sniff in the grass and take food off the floor, it usually means the dog's calm enough to learn. If the dog cannot bring their eyes away or their voice away from a situation, they can't learn right now. So don't be training them then. Build a relationship. Excuse me. Water. I think I swallowed a fly. Build a relationship at home inside. Build a recall, a better recall. Use a target stick. Get a spoon, put peanut butter on it. Have them follow you. Bend down, call them, and then take them to some chicken. Call them and take them to something wonderful. Keep building up a recall for a dog that will trust you, that when things are going badly, you'll bend down, you'll say sweetly, we're getting out of here. If they can't hear you, you're going to turn around, you're going to leave. When you ask a dog to come, it should be an indication that you're going and they will be following you really soon. That's your expectation. It's not an order. It's not a compulsion. You're not threatening them. Come here. You're telling them, come here, we're leaving, we're getting out of here. And you're taking them away, letting them sniff, letting them eat some food, get in the car, go back in the house, decompress. Teach them to tolerate more before you bail. Oh, here we go. Stress triggers cortisol. Exactly right. And they're flooded with it. And they can't get a break.
Can I ask a question, Marnie?
Please.
You said that reactivity is typically caused, or most often maybe caused by fear. Yep. Are there, I assume there's at least some cases where reactivity is genuinely, I want to go beat that dog up, or I'm dominant.
It's frustration.
For cases when it's not fear, are the strategies any different?
No, bailing is always the answer, typically. Now, there is extra levels with frustration, aggression based. Here's how you really know the difference. Frustration based can still be rooted in fear, but it could also be aggressive. Aggressive, there's no fear involved in the room. No one's afraid here. The crack cocaine is chasing down or getting to that dog, chasing that squirrel. It's crack cocaine, and the reactivity that can come from there. Thank you, Irene. the reactivity that can come from that side of the brain is intense, but it's the same answer. We bail. We don't have a foundation of trust with our human to listen to them. When we say we're leaving, we're leaving. It's not a suggestion, it's not a compulsion, but we are leaving. So that dog knows to come. I don't take a dog anywhere that's reactive, either fear or frustration or true aggression. I want to go get it and I want to go clobber it. Aggression often comes from it's gotten toxic. It's not truly, it's very rare that it's a true hunter predator direct, I want to mess you up. Obviously squirrels and other dogs can be that, but truly the dog usually doesn't have that much energy. It's because they feel they're going to be trapped. They're in a leash, they're trapped, and they have all this energy that's not going in the right places, so it funnels to a target. It's a redirection method of energy. So this animal's got too much energy. It's not getting to decompress and lose its energy in a chill setting. And that can sometimes mean getting in a car or going for miles away and exercising. It can mean exercising less and doing more mental stimulation at home and way more very obedient, focused tasks. Look up clicker training. Just look anything, any task, hand targeting, lay down, go to bed, touch this, bring me that, uses the brain, and that tires the body out, because when the brain's tired, the whole creature is less frantic. So you're going too far with either type of dog, going too far and keeping going in a straight line. It's a killer for reactivity. You're setting the dog up to fail. Go back and forth, short distances. So yeah, true aggression. It's the same answer. You need respect of the handler. You need to be able to leave way more than you go forward. You need to go back and forth and be able to leave on a dime. If I turn my shoulder, my dogs are already turning. It's not even, they don't think about it. I don't think about it. If I see something in the environment, I don't feel confident going right past, nose to nose. I bail first. I get out of there, even if it's only 3 feet to the sidewalk, even if it's only 2 feet to something else. I sniff, I make sure the dog can listen to me, and I set that dog up better to go past something that's hard, or I try and avoid it. So we're too forward thinking as a human species. That's all. And we just keep going forward. Barbara, I wonder, sorry, was anyone going to ask me anything here before I ask? Sorry.
I need to ask you something.
Please.
So my foster fail junior mint, now Maverick, was an abuse neglect case. So he has reactivity where he gets his hawks up and he's very loud, and he, will kind of like do the little stomping thing when anybody comes to the door or anybody enters my home. Even now, if he knows like my what we call our pack, he's fine. But if my son is bringing over a friend that he is not familiar with, he will constantly bark at him. Yeah. And while we don't take him in public spaces because it's too soon, we don't take him out of the yard. We only take him to places that we've already desensitized him to be familiar with. How do I get it to where if I tell him that it's okay that the person's in our house, that he's going to be okay? And he does go in his crate, and we do put the cover on him so he feels safe. Yeah.
Okay. Whew, that's a lot. How long have you been dealing with this?
I had him since November.
Okay, so I'm glad you spoke up. Thank you so much for coming. This is the whole reason Lori must be so happy, and Irene and everybody else here. This is the reason we do this, is so that you can get that help, because that's hard. They're coming to your house in a tight space. He's trapped. He can't escape. So he goes, but what does he do? He takes over. He says, I'll be in charge of who comes in. And that's a child. Heck to the no, no. He's taking over because he doesn't see you meeting his needs for safety. Do you see how all the theory I just said That's a formula. Where's the need not being met for the behavior? Safety. It's safety. It's not aggression, it's fear, but they have to switch to something hard. It's a predator. It's not soft and fuzzy. You can't say, sure, I'm sure you'll be fine. It means they have no trust for you guys who comes in the house. No trust for your son for bringing in a friend, and that he's constantly flooded. That doorway becomes a nemesis. This becomes a ritual, and it's a problem. So I'm going to help you. And I made a note to myself in the chat that please do somebody get me to come back to this wonderful lady, because you do need help and you need it now. We need to make sure everything's safe. The crate is great. That's great. But then he's stuffed in a tighter box and having these feelings, and he still thinks he should be in charge of who comes in the house. So here, allow yourself here to just get the basics of me changing your brain waves a little bit of how you think about why you've got this problem, what's happening, how he's thinking. You just take everything I just said, and we've recorded this call, luckily, so you can play it back. Before I give you the answers, I'd like you to try and think about what might be going on that you could use. Like, how much of your relationship could you improve in leadership, following, giving cues to come away from something, asking your person to get you out of a situation? He's just taken over. He's taken over and he's out of control a little bit. So we need to change you. It's not even about the dog right now. We need to change you. The dog's got this thing, but the environment, what environment would he go into that would be different? Any house is going to have people, and he doesn't feel safe. So your relationship has to change now. It has to strengthen, and it has to change, and it has to do it now. So we will help you. I just want you to start learning. I can tell you, you can do this, this, and this. And I do that all the time, all day long. But if I don't teach people how to think and change their thinking, I'm not actually really helping. So just inviting you to do something slightly different with me, because I will make sure you get everything. We've got, can we link the resources for reactivity?
Yeah, I was just going to ask.
This is a couple.
Yep, I'm about to send the clicker training one, and then I'll send the second one in the chat. And
yes,
if people don't get a chance to kind of copy that, we can obviously get it to you. So there's one, and a second one will come in just a second.
So what I want to do there is invite everybody, and specifically Barbara, because we're also helping Barbara today a little bit. Barbara, if you don't mind applying what you know and what you've heard to what was just said. What do you think about that problem? Just quickly, if you can sum up what you feel, because we're teaching you too. We're teaching everyone here a little bit, but you learn most when you get involved in helping other people's problems. So trust me, Amy, we got you. We'll help you, but start thinking differently a little bit here. Go over what I just said. Try and apply what you're hearing to that situation and start thinking a little outside the box. But go ahead, Barbara, how would you do it? Let's answer each other.
Well, I will first admit that I've made a study of human attachment, neuroscience, and
Brilliant.
trauma for the past 10 or 15 years. So I come to this with that understanding.
Wow.
And so, but I've had a lot of light bulbs go off, because one of the things I've been doing with Kuno, he didn't like the walk that I used to take my last dog on, because the trail is too narrow. We run into too many people, and he has to walk across a picnic area where there's a lot of people, and he's afraid of strangers. So like pathologically, like pulling, leaping. So
This is
I've
in
been
his
taking him-
freedom harness, right? Did I see you in a freedom harness?
No, I don't think so.
What
I
kind
don't
of
know what, I
harness
don't know
do-
what a freedom harness is.
Okay, my bad. I thought I saw a freedom harness. Okay, which
So
is
um,
wonderful.
So I've
to
been
have
taking
one.
him to different paths, and I think of it like an adventure. Like, we're going to go and try this new path. And just listening to you, I'm like, no, actually what I should do is do a routine that we go on, A path in the morning and B path at night, and go to the same place every time, just so that he gets more of the same thing over and over, and there's not consistency. And then I was going to ask about what I did. I just went on vacation with him. And so I was at a family house. We were in a new environment, and I had friends and family visiting. And I asked all my friends and family to text me before they got there, so that I could bring him out to the driveway and let them say hi to him, and ask them not to approach him, and to just say hi, toss him a treat where he is, And then, you know, like just go through the slow process where they tossed him a treat and then they would toss it halfway between them. And eventually he might be sort of okay. And then they would come in the house and he'd be nervous, but at least he had an introduction that wasn't them just popping into the house. And my brother was not as good at following this rule. And my brother's 6'4". So my brother would just pop into the house and he would growl and bark at him because he was really afraid of them. Again, because the bigger the person and
Yeah.
the more masculine the person, the more afraid
Yeah.
of them he is.
Yeah,
So
and the
I
more
don't know
trapped
if
he
that,
is.
I don't know if that fits what you're talking about, because you're still
Does.
talking about something relational that seems deeper than just a Band-Aid solution for how to introduce.
Yes. There's a relational shift that's missing. He's expressed. Think about it, right? We read, and not to go off topic, you said so many wonderful things. There's so many nuggets I'd love to unpack, and I'd love to like spend a whole day just like as a group. I would love to dive into this so deeply because it's so fascinating, and everything you
Let
said
me
is
say
right
one
there.
quick thing to
Sure.
everyone. There's a new movie called The Wisdom of Trauma. And
Ooh.
it's not deep in terms of like scientific information, but it's a very beautiful film and it might be worth watching because it's the kind of film that changes your perspective on what bad behavior actually comes from.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you can see it online this weekend, and then it might be a while. It's playing in festivals and stuff. And yeah, it's called The
I will
Wisdom of
watch it.
Trauma. Every human should
Huge.
should
Every
understand
human.
trauma.
Yes. And every animal is susceptible to the same, not the same emotions as us. This, we can't be inside them, but we see expressions of emotions, very complex emotions that serve behavioral needs. With Kuno there, yes, it there's so many nuggets of wisdom that I get different levels of it, but fundamentally the relationship shift. Dogs are bred to work for us. We've done it on purpose for years, and even though we've messed them up genetically, we're not serving their purpose in these situations in ourselves. There is something usually in each relationship that I address first. It doesn't, you may have filled your relationship bucket. I haven't. Your videos are great, but I haven't really witnessed you guys together. So I don't know how often I don't know when he's feeling for you, when he's talking to you, when he's talking for you, when he's being a partner, and if you're missing some of his cues and he's missing some of yours. But I bet you if I came and spent some time with you and we showed everybody, I bet you we could show the relational trust that a dog has to have to tell you, this is what's happening, this is what I'm programmed to tell you, this is the information, I did my job, now where's my next point of action and where's my reward? And we just changed that. So he's looking to that before the incident ever happens. 6 foot for a person in a tighter space. He's telling you he can't handle that. He needs to see that you take control and make these things happen, and that he then can relax and switch off. He's not getting because even though he was found 6 weeks old, he hadn't been abused or none of that. He still sees that person as the biggest threat in the room, and he's not wrong. And his genetics are telling you that's a bigger predator than me, and I've got to step into it. But guess what? He's not allowing you. He should be like a tool in the bucket that is waiting to be used and excited to be used. Dogs were bred as tools for us, and it's a little bit shocking for people, but we're not working our dogs. We got to have a better relationship where our spanner tells us, you need to adjust me a little bit so that I can get that nut for you. It's a profound musical relationship between living creatures. There's feelings involved, there's trust, there's devotion, but an animal that's reactive or excessively barking, either of those things is telling you this relationship is out of whack, because I'm not harmonious. It's not harmonious. We should be working together to achieve a goal. If he's not seeing you react to the threat, he's expressing it louder. And if you shift it, usually, and we know this because dog trainers have a job, if we shift it, and good dog trainers should be regulated. I just want to throw that out there. I can't stand seeing people that screw this up for other people or for the animal by not following the science or the art of animal training. It's ludicrous to me what we're allowing to be taught. We just need to shift how the animal feels us, react and respond to what they're expressing. That we take leadership in a gentle and kind and profound way, and we make things safe. And that the dog can switch off. Dogs aren't switching off. So we need to help them switch off. And that's something I can teach you in more detail. We just wanted to see, we've got excessive barking, we've got individual cases. We just want to see people's interest. We want to make you know there's help, there's resources. We can go through individual emails, and I'll be working with you, Barbara. But go ahead and tell me a little more. Tell me another example, and let's look at that with a different eyes and different focus of what we've just learned. And let me now give you some neat answers, just black and white answers. Go ahead. Try and give me something, a situation you'd like to tweak. I want you to tell me that one later. You'll tell me what you could do differently. We'll get it where your brother, we will change how he is about your 6'4".
Okay.
Socially.
So you're asking me, not the group.
Yes,
You're
I'm asking you,
so.
Barb. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
so maybe
Tell
we
me
can
something
hear,
different.
let's hear one more from Barbara, and then I know Grace
Yes.
had a question too. So,
Yes,
but-
so Grace asked the question, and then if anyone else, go ahead, Barbara.
Well, this is a good example. I just took him for a walk around the block. And I didn't have a lot of time because I wanted to come to this meeting. So usually I take him into the park, but tonight I took him for a walk around the block. And sometimes I do that later at night just to give him an extra walk. So he's been around this block. But when we went outside, he's afraid of idling cars. And one of my neighbors across the alley was talking to somebody in a car. That's alert. I mean, and it kind of set him off. And he was
Set him off how?
There's a way his body looks where his tail just gets kind of rigid and curled that I can tell he's kind of just in this. When he's pulling, he's either excited and happy to be going to the park, or he's in a fear state. And so, and as we went around the block, it's kind of time when people are coming home and so there's a person here, there's a person there. He doesn't want to go near this one. So, it's like I can cross the street to avoid that one, but then I'll run into another one. I don't really have like a place. I don't have a place to take him. Like I was going to ask you when you were talking about, get him out of there. Like there's no place to get him to.
So does anyone remember? Does anyone throw us a bone here? Anyone remember? I did say it. I said the answer. Does anyone remember how I would bail in that example?
Turning.
Sooner. Yeah, I would start at the front door, and I would get that relationship to where when you turn your shoulder, just even a touch, that's giving the dog the cue to get out of there. If they can't give it to you first, and I would get it to where I could give you the cue sooner. It's hard, Barbara, don't get me wrong. You're going to struggle for a while, but there's layers, right? We would build it up layers. The first most fundamental one is that he could give you a bail cue and you can give him a bail cue sooner, and it's more solid than anything you've seen yet. From the front door to 10, 15 feet away, anyone who's seen me on the lives or anything I've done, I won't walk more than 10, 15 feet with a dog, and I have them in for about a month. And I won't go further than that, but those 10 feet, 15 feet, the most interesting 10, 15 feet. And then I get things to go past and people's to go past. And when we can do that, we'll go a little further. When we can do that, we'll go a little further and we'll come back. It's back and forth. The answer is back and forth and cues with each other where you're reading each other, even if you're not looking at each other, you're reading each other all the time. And when one of you have the 60% of the relationship you're carrying, but when you turn yourself and say bail, he bails. There's no ifs, ands, or buts, and that's not happening. He can't off switch. He can't not feel all these emotions until he can count on something, and the only thing you can count on is you. And I would have to teach you that.
So do I bail and just come back in the house when I see that the car is there?
You have to.
We can go out the front door instead.
You have to just get creative. It's never going to be perfect because you've got things moving around. It's like chaos. It's entropy out there. It's never going to be perfect, but you can make it better. And you can go in the house and feed some chicken and come back out. You could relax, come back out. I could show you. I promise you guys, if anyone's interested, you're going to have to say you're interested because, obviously OPH pay me for my time. So if anyone's interested, I will make a follow-up video for that. specifically, and I am useless at videos. So hopefully you could guide me to being better for everybody, because all I want to do is help. So I will make a follow-up video. I have some very reactive dogs that are scary reactive, just fresh off the boat. Scary to me, I mean, not just like somebody else might not be, but my back cries when I think about walking this dog out tomorrow. So I will show you.
So Marnie, since Barbara is actually a filmmaker, film editor, maybe we can engage her in helping you with those at some point. I know your secrets,
Any way
Barbara.
whatsoever, I'd love to be better at serving. So any tips or anything, I want to serve better, and me with a video camera is not a pretty thing. So, but I will post it and we will see what we can. I would like to teach you how to do that. And it will be for your sake, Barbara. Specifically, I'll deal with that. Exactly that.
So let's, Grace had a question, and Ginger has also put a comment, or kind of half question, half comment, I guess, in the chat. So why don't we do those two, and then hopefully at least catch a little bit of the
Grace
excess.
first, was it?
I think
Irene,
Grace
was it
first.
Grace
Yeah, Grace
Okay.
first. And then we'll see if we can squeeze some, we're short on time, so squeeze some excess barking in at the
Okay.
end. But
Okay.
Grace, how about you go ahead?
I'm going to try to sum this up quick. So my dog's awesome, great dog. I've had him trained. He's great. He's great with people. I got him in February in his foster home. He was with a dog for 8 days. They were great. They played rough, but they were great.
Yeah.
On the 8th day, he bit her like a puncture wound, like I think bad bite. They warned me of that, whatever. I still got him. And then he ended up again biting. He attacked a dog when I had him. I should mention too that during both these attacks, he had a fractured tibia.
Oh gosh.
So
Don't worry about rushing.
Okay.
We're in a safe space.
Thank you.
We only get to excessive barking if, reactive people, unless someone can, please type in the chat if you have an urgent excessive barking question that you want to be answered today, because I will. But this is important. That's important.
Thank you so much.
With a lot.
Thank you. So anyway, he's come a long way. He was also very clingy at first. He would cry when I left the house and stuff. He's so much better in that way too. So he now actually has like my neighbor's dog. They have play dates every week. He's great with her. Like there's no aggression at all.
Fantastic. And she's a girl, noted.
He's a girl. Yeah, she's a girl. But
what size girl?
He's a Great Dane Black Lab mix.
She can kick his ass, girl.
She can absolutely kick his ass.
But she's chill.
She does.
So he's not dog evil. Don't mean to jump all over you here, but for the sake of, he's not dog evil, but he is. What is he triggered by? Is he? What is he?
He's right here, but he's
what flavor are you? You're beautiful. He's beautiful. He's a beautiful Muttley.
Thank you. He's a beagle boxer, I think. So.
Right. Got some houndy flavors.
He is such a hound.
And boxery, speed of nanoseconds, impulse following. Yes.
Yeah. No, totally.
Okay.
But she is bigger than him. She plays rougher than him. She nips at him. He's not fazed by it. He's great with her. He's great with like a bunch of other dogs in my neighborhood. But I've figured out it's all curly haired dogs, like Shih Tzus, Labradoodles. Like he goes, like he snarls at them. I don't even like if a
dogs are racist. Dogs are discriminatory. They are. It's awful, and we have to educate them to be on a higher plane of existence, because they are
right.
They pick one demographic and they target it, and it doesn't really matter what, but they'll pick something, hats or women or men. Dogs are very contextual. So there's context for your dog. His past has context by a curly haired individual or perception of a curly haired individual. No doubt whatsoever. Dogs don't lie. The question is now, how do you desensitize it? So you're doing the right things. You've got things. Here's the thing. Cut out it's like a diet. The first thing we're cutting out is doodles of any description, no curls for a minute, just unless they're at such a distance that he can eat steak happily. And all his I saw on a bed there some toys that he looked very happy to have in existence. If you had a little bag with you and you had some Philly steak in a packet and it's warm, and you went out and about and you went doodle spotting.
Yes.
Could you find me some curly haired naughtiness for him to see?
Okay.
And then you let's start unpacking the fiesta of like happiness and joy. And you just go silly, but you keep the distance so that there's no negatives.
Okay.
There's no poison in there. You
Right.
gotta keep distance. And same with you, Barbara. Same with anybody, same with you, Amy. One of your biggest cues is going to be distance. There's no reaction at a certain distance. You're screwed when they dive out of nowhere. But right now, we're trying to find the ones we can improve. We just need more happy experiences is the answer.
Okay.
More joy, less. There should be no doodles unless they have been presented at a distance or come closer until we can condition it so that doodles approaching mean
Like
joy.
happiness or fun or whatever with them being nearby. Okay. That makes
And you
sense.
don't rush it, thin slice it.
Okay.
You slice that little slice of moment. You take a moment
Mhm.
and you focus on the fact that you just sawed a curly haired dog and we both recognize it's curly haired and all the things happened in the world to rain down. The problem is you have to remove some of those happy joy moments elsewhere.
Okay.
You're now like this boring, and you're not. You're so much fun. I want to come play with you and your dog right now.
Yeah.
But you just have to be boring. You have to be boring, Grace, and you have to just hold back on the fun
Yeah.
and be sad.
Okay.
And like a doodle comes and cheers you up, and
Okay.
and you're like, oh, thank God, I needed a doodle in my life. And you start tossing steak and toys out.
Okay.
Your dog will change.
Okay. That's
The chemistry of your dog will change, but it has to happen at a distance. We have to support them through the recovery process. There's
okay.
no such thing as bad curly haired dogs.
Right.
He met one.
Yeah.
Now,
There's hope. Like, can we get to a point where he is okay with them? Okay.
yes,
That's
it's in deep. It's in there,
okay.
and it's been repeated. Any behavior that gets repeated gets perfected and practiced and polished.
Right.
The other behaviors we want need to be put in there and eaten and celebrated. Does that make sense to everybody? We have to polish what we want to see happen again. Happiness at seeing curly. He needs happiness at dogs. Only happiness at dogs he's having fun with. He wasn't good at reading dogs, so he got unhappy because it was curly haired. But it's an energy level of the curly haired dog. That dog was either super intense and energetic and probably male.
Right.
So there's other factors to dissect here. Keep it only the very best Rolls Royce experiences for him in the dog land.
Okay.
And just dogs in general bring happiness at a distance and safety. He needs to get better at reading dogs. He needs confident dogs that can kick his butt but are chill and have good language. And he needs to just or keep him away from any dog that could mess that up.
Okay.
I know it's tough
to add too.
Yeah.
With the dog he plays with next door, he's in love with her. So anytime we're walking them together, if another dog comes and plays with her, he also freaks out. Like he's like a different dog. Like he's very.
In what way?
He tries to attack them pretty much because they're playing.
Okay. So we have to manage. We have to remove. We have to not allow the behaviors. He can't. Here's the thing. You could do this and it's cruel. Do you want to hear my punishments, my cruelness, my dark side? Because I'm talking about this happy steak. Do you want to know what I do if I want to be dark to a dog? Because of course I do. But I don't do it with violence. I do it with sneakiness, monkey brain. I would be walking them and they would be having a lovely time. And then we would see another dog approaching and I would wait. I would feel my dog. And the moment one hair on his head stiffened, I would bail and I would leave and we would go home, shut the door. We wouldn't work with her for a week.
Okay.
And then I'd do it again. Just with her. Everything else would be happy dog land.
Okay.
But we'd walk with her. We'd see a dog, one hair on his head. We would not let the dog finish approaching.
That's good to know.
We cannot let him practice failure.
Okay.
We have to practice success way more than failure. But we're not afraid of failure. We know he's not, and you're not going to let him kill any dogs. You're not going to let him practice eating dogs. Now you know, stop doing it. No dogs in his, but he sees a dog, and you have to have a harness so he's not pulled away by his neck, and
I
you have
got
to
one
be kind and
for
sweet.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know, he changes his posture. He gets an attitude. He's home.
Okay.
No more sassy neighbor for
Right.
him.
It's like kids. It makes sense. Okay.
No more.
Okay. Thank
He
you.
works for you now.
Yeah.
He works for you. Other dogs are not his business. They're not his lane. Get back in your own lane. You're in the lane.
Okay. That totally
It's cheering me up because I'm so sad. And seeing other dogs cheers me up. So you gotta give me this. And we gotta play when we see other dogs. And we gotta tug. And your relationship, just focus on your relationships. Other dogs don't exist. They're like trees. You don't react when you go past trees.
Okay.
I don't care if they're curly trees or straight trees. It doesn't matter.
Right.
They don't exist to us. This is our bubble. But if I see a curly haired dog, I'm gonna be the happiest person in the world. And I'm gonna make your day good.
Thank you. That's
And
so
you're welcome to
cool.
email for more.
I
Okay,
definitely
anyone else
will.
desperately, I didn't check, Irene, update.
Yeah, no,
you?
that was every time I hear you talk, Marnie, I think of all the things that I should have been doing as a dog person for the last 20 years and haven't. We've muddled through, but we've
Oh.
muddled. This is really helpful. So
Thank you.
both Ginger and Debbie made comments. I don't know if you wanted to expand on that or if there are other questions on reactivity. We only have 9 minutes left, so we may or may not.
Sorry, everybody.
No, you know, I think one topic per call is going to have to, because there's so much to be said.
Well,
on all of
sometimes
these
it just
things, right?
depends, and sometimes some
Yeah,
people don't
yeah.
have meat to go. So it just depends.
Right.
It's
Actually, let
good
me
to
ask
have a
a quick
goal.
question. Did anyone come on the call just for excessive barking?
Yes, please just
Any, and
tell.
if,
I
because if
didn't see
not,
anything
we
last
could
time.
do a next call maybe on.
It's usually reactivity, and the two are
Yeah.
linked. They're so.
Yeah.
Oh, could we link the resources for the
Yep,
barking?
I will put those up now. Yep. So,
Because they're there.
yep.
Can I confess? Can this be a confession?
Yes.
Barking makes me mad. It makes me so unhappy. So anyone with barking dogs, I salute you. And it is the one thing that made me not want to be a dog trainer. Like 15 years ago, I was like, okay, people kept bringing me barking dogs, and I was like, I don't do barking. I can't help you. I just don't do it. I won't. I won't breathe. I won't shower. I won't eat. I won't go grocery shopping. If the dog's barking, I will change life. And I just can't help you because nobody is as committed to not barking as I am. I will do everything. So if you really feel like that, I can help you because I won't live with it. I don't know if you can hear me now, but I've been brought some of the most excessively barky dogs recently, and the lady did give me a bark collar, and I was tempted, and I have not touched anything like that in years now, because I just, you know, it's like an art form. Use what you need, get through the moment, do the best you can. But when we know better, we do better. And when you're an artist, you tend to do it with gentler strokes, and brush strokes are different. So this is my art, this is my craft, this is my joy. So I tend not to use anything that could destroy dogs' trust, but barking out when they've had all their needs met and they're still barking for the sheer joy of barking, I get it. So I am in the boat of, I don't love barking, and it makes me feel like a newbie sometimes, because I'm like, oh no, it's barking, what do I do? It's another need that's not been met. It is absolutely, oh, thank you. It is another need that's not been met. It is boredom, it is frustration, it is reactivity to seeing things they can't control. It is not their business and not their lane. If they're frustrated, bored, or trying to control the outside world, it means they don't have enough to do with you, and that they don't know what they should be doing instead. It is that simple. The dog needs to know what they should be doing instead. There shouldn't be an opportunity where their mouth could be open. Why are they getting all this free food in a bowl? And it's not, food is free because they're dogs and we feed them, but they're getting all the food in the bowl and then they got nothing to do. They're dying of boredom. So feeding dogs in puzzle toys is absolutely, hand feeding them for training, for having conversations with you. Don't be afraid of food. Don't be afraid of feeding dogs. People get afraid of it or worried about it, and that confused me for a long time. And now I'm just like, get over it, people. Feed the dog to pay the dog, and then find something better to pay them with. Toys. Doing the best thing to pay a dog with is a behavior that meets the needs and make the dog happy, and that is the art of dog training. When you're just moving and the dog's getting rewarded because Something's moving, and it's a border collie, and they live to make things move, and it's getting rewarded by this behavior, but it's making everybody happy because it's the kids. They're watching the kids, or they're bringing the cats safely from one room to another. I'm just talking about my border collie Bay now. I have him herd my kid or the cats or something useful, and he works all day for hours and hours, and I never hear a peep, and he's so happy. He doesn't do lights or barking or any border collie stuff, but I don't have sheep. I'm in the city now. So I can't give him that job, but I give him a job. So barking comes from not having enough in your mouth, enough to do, enough visual stimulation in the home, or, you know, like on the walks, or too much. Let's go the other way. They're triggered, they're flooded, then they're put outside and left alone, and they just want to just yell at everybody. So there's just another level with excessive barking. Either dial it way, way, way down and make things calmer, decompress, supervise when you're out, get a pet sitter, get a doggy daycare, find what makes your dog occupied in a way that makes them calmer. If they're not getting calmer, it's not getting better. Email me. Does that make sense? But make them chew everything in life, chew, eat out of everything, get them occupied, give them an enrichment experience. So one of the things you can just Google is canine enrichment ideas, and put them in the, when you go outside, you should have a theme park for your dog. So your dog's too busy, but you should be there as much as you possibly can. If it's a small dog, and if anyone has a small dog, it's different. It's slightly different. They're so sensitized, and they have much less to do than the big dogs. So they get really toxic really fast. So you can email me, but I got myself a small dog 15 years ago because I didn't know why people kept having these crazy small dogs, but they're wonderful, and they can hear everything, a pin drop, and then they can't see it all. They're not big enough, and they're not got enough to do. They don't need to be barking at all. They just don't. It's just not. It's a small dog, so it barks. No, it's a small dog. It's bored off its brain. It's got Napoleon complex. It's taking over the world. It can't see everything. Everything's moving. It doesn't feel involved enough with life. It's down at this level, and it needs to control stuff. Bring more entertainment, more enrichment, more occupation for dogs. Get that. Start doing clicker training things. Like anything, clicker training gets your dog to think about you. It takes the pressure off. We're verbal diarrhea orientated human beings, and dogs aren't verbal orientated animals. So clicker training takes the pressure off auditory signals. It goes straight through the amygdala. There's less pressure on the animal in a learning environment. They can succeed, and they're paid for doing a job. And it just meets needs, and behavior problems are a lack of needs being met. I hope that helped everybody.
Yeah. And Marnie, I wanted to just add that there's a Facebook group called Canine Enrichment that actually someone else in OPH had added me to. It was flooded with all kinds of clever ideas of rolling treats and towels and doing this and doing that. And so if you need ideas, some of them are really quite simple. And I think maybe
really
OPH
simple.
could share the
Milk
link to that or
jugs.
something. But that's, sort of easy ways to keep your dog engaged. So we're 2 minutes to the hour. This has been fantastic. And as like I said, I thought of a bunch of things that I should have been doing all this time. Are there any final questions or?
I was going to try and get this one in here.
Oh yeah. Well, there were a couple
Ginger's.
I don't know, Ginger, did you have a question, or was that just a comment about how?
Barks at dogs pulling down the last 2 weeks. She loves people and babies. Barks at dogs. Treats help intermittently. I turn and go, but she'll pull to stay and keep barking. Okay, Ginger, contact me. That you're exactly. She's gotten stuck on it, like she's stubborn on it when she's nervous. And you've got kids that I see. So you're or not kids. Okay. She loves babies. Yeah. When she's nervous, she goes in circles. Hi. I've had her 2 months now. I think the elevator is a trigger. Target stick. You need a target stick. If you Google target training, target stick training for dogs, if you just type that in, or I can email you, we can get you that resource. Let me see if I can get a link very quickly.
Great. Thank you, Marnie. This has been a great group. This is a nice size group too.
Thank you.
Such a great group.
Yeah.
By the way, Kiko Pup on YouTube, I just want to give a shout out. I've been promoting this woman for 11 straight years because she is the most incredible. She does videos. Like I said, I'm not good at videos, and Barbara will attest it's an art form, and it seems so easy. I don't understand why I'm so awful at it, but I am. Oh, my zooming disappeared.
It is deceptively difficult. It looks easy, but
is.
not.
It
It's like
is.
learning to play an instrument. It's much more complicated than. It's like
It's
training
crazy.
a dog. It takes a
It's-
lot of effort.
Yes, it's an art form. Yes, I have so much respect for people who get it right. Oh my gosh, it's an art form. But moving dogs and me trying to teach somebody something and watching the dog and trying to speak to the camera, I'll show you my results. We'll have a good laugh. But I do try, but I keep making them because I know people need the help, and I can get through just a bit of wobbly dog moving and not very good camera work. So I can definitely help people. But Kiko Pup is very good at it, and she keeps her dog stationary or has the camera set up. She's very, very good at it. She doesn't do there's some things she doesn't specialize in. There's some things I do not specialize in, and we refer each other to people. But for anything to do with clicker training or getting your dog's attention, or getting some good, simple obedience commands that are really commands, they're just trained responses, because the dog's trained to be able to operate a cue in an environment that the cue and the reward for the cue are more important than the stressor or the triggers in the environment. And we just don't prepare our dogs. So Ginger, the answer was your dog's focusing and then gets stuck and taking over. And when you turn, it's a suggestion. When you turn to go away, it's a suggestion. You're not taking it away. So if you use a target stick and work diligently on that, I think it'll change your game.
Great, thank you.
And it's easy, simple to use with no physical force needed. There's nothing. It's just a stick, anything you can hold, like a wooden spoon, anything. You can put some peanut butter or some cottage cheese on it. And you watch the videos, it's incredible. The dog will follow it if they like food, but you have to train it without the stress, because dogs won't eat when they're stressed. But they'll follow the stick because they trained at home.
Okay.
Interesting.
So if you just
Sounds great.
I can help you again. You can reach back out and I can help you implement it. But that's what I would focus on. And turn sooner and be committed to leaving. Are you using a harness, a front fastened harness?
No,
Use
but
a
I'll
front
get
fastened
one.
harness clipped to the collar, and that just pulls them off center and helps you turn. I never use anything else for reactive or bark dogs.
Okay, thank you.
I put a link in the chat while somebody else was chatting. I think Irene was chatting, and I put some that I like freedom harness or easy walk harness.
Yep. And thank you,
Both.
Barbara, for putting
I use both, and that's the only two I use. I'm not the best at. Lisa Wolf is so great at collecting resources and things like that. I'm scatterbrained that way. I'm so laser focused on what I do well that all the other things just go by me. But those two resources I wouldn't live without.
Great. Thank you for sharing
Thank
that. And thank
you.
you, Barbara, for putting up the Kiko Pup link as well.
thank
And
you.
I think we're kind of at time.
We are.
So this is great. Thank you so much, everybody. And thank you. Whenever I hear these stories, I'm really touched by the people who stick with the dogs who are challenging or need to be accommodated. I mean, Barbara, I had fostered Kuno, so I know that, and you actually met an easy dog and turned that dog down, said it's too boring, and adopted Kuno instead. So I applaud you for that. I'm sure there's days when you kick yourself for having done that, but it's great. And Grace and all of you who work to get these dogs to be the best dogs they can be. We really appreciate it when our adopters and fosters do that. So thank you, Marty. Marty, how can people contact you?
I just wrote it in the.
You're ahead of me. Excellent.
I missed one question from Debbie. I may have missed a couple. It's a work in progress. Everybody,
I
thank
couldn't
you for
fit it
bearing
all.
with us.
Debbie's was about being growly at the vet, and maybe
So I just linked them. I don't even deal with that. Like, there's a specialist in that. She's amazing. Everything she says, Laurie Luck. If you've got a vet visit issue, Laurie Luck, or get a vet to come to your home if you can. But it's desensitization on handling protocols. Laurie Luck online. She's incredible. Again, it's just helping the dog cope.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you. Thanks so much, everybody. And I guess there'll be more of these in the future, I think. So Thank you,
Thank
everyone,
you.
for
Very
joining
helpful.
us.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you for
Bye.
coming.
Thank you. That was wonderful.
Thanks for your time.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Irene, for doing that.
My pleasure.